Courtney Mermaid here, and welcome to another video. In today's video, I want to talk about body confidence as a mermaid. So as opposed to just going into crazy amounts of depth about all of the horrible things that I've heard said to people or about people or to me or wherever, I thought I would talk about some of the things that I do or I encourage other people to do to kind of stay above it all and kind of keep things in perspective. Because honestly, we're already mermaids, so we're already battling that, like, oh, you're a mermaid, that nonsense, and I mean, that's enough to deal with, let alone being called too fat or too tall or too short or too whatever to be a mermaid. Like, we just don't need to deal with that. So I have a couple of tips and tricks and things that I do and things that I want to talk to you guys about. So let's just dive right in. So the first one, which is kind of, it's obvious to all of us, but it's really hard to execute, is the whole staying in your own head concept. And what I mean by that is focusing inward, not focusing on how you look to people and what people think of you and how you come off and all of this stuff, but just literally just staying inside your own head and focusing on how you feel about you, on your inner conversation, and not paying attention. Like, it takes some practice, it really does. But to just be like, okay, this can just go over here for a second. I'm not interested in that right now. Just like putting it aside almost. And within that kind of concept, remembering that everyone, regardless of what they say, how they look, how they act, and how you assume that they feel inside, has their own insecurities. They might be different than yours or mine or anybody else's, but they are there in some way. It's just a fact of life. Nobody is 100% perfect. Do you know what I'm saying? So I want to talk about that inner conversation for a sec. So your inner conversation, what I want you guys to do is a little exercise. If you could just humor me for a second, and if you can keep a journal, that's great. If not, just pay some extra attention. But listen to your inner conversation with yourself. Like, really actually listen, because we all have like a running dialogue going on, most of us. Mine never shuts up. But we all have an inner conversation. We're out clothes shopping, and we're trying on a pair of pants, and maybe we grabbed the wrong size. You're gonna have said something. Like, you might not hear it, but your subconscious heard it. And it's little things that you'll be, like, let me give you some of my own examples so that I'm not like putting anything on you guys. These are things that I've said to myself. I'm going to soften them a little bit because the week that I did this, where I listened to the things that I said about myself, like almost broke my heart. Like, I almost want to get upset about it, but it's okay. I called myself all kinds of horrible things. Like, I told myself how fat I was, how ugly I was. I said, God, your nose is hideous. I said things like, oh, your eyebrows are so uneven. Oh, your butt's so big. Your giant feet. Like, I'm dumbing these down for you guys because I didn't always use words that were very nice at all. Things like, you know, I'm insecure about the shape of my fingernails. They're, you know, they're fine. Like, I know that they're fine, but they're very flat, and I don't really like how they look. And there's just all these things. And I didn't once in a week, because I didn't try and change anything. I just did this as an experiment to see what I said about myself, just to see. And it was horrible. I was so depressed by the end of the week. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe. Like, really? Oh my goodness. I wouldn't say things like that to anybody. It was really depressing. So the next step was to take what I said, and anytime I heard myself, like, I started to really pay attention. I was like, okay, anytime I wanted to grab a snack and I was gonna give myself a hard time, or anytime I went to put on a shirt that was maybe a little bit more revealing or something, or anytime that I went to brush my teeth and I could see that my teeth weren't, I mean, they're straight now because I've got retainers, but when they were still a little more crooked, any of that kind of stuff, and I would say something else. And if I couldn't bring myself to change exactly what it was that I said, I would say something else that's different. So I would say something about myself that I liked. You know, like, I think I have pretty eyes. I like the shape of my lips. I think I have very cute ears. I really love the proportions of from here to here. You know, and sure, maybe that sounds a little silly to you, but for me, I had to figure out something to say. And for you, it could be something totally different, right? You know, I like my cheekbones, for example. I have quite high cheekbones and a pronounced jaw, and I quite like that look on me. I think that works. But it took me a long time to be like okay with thinking good things about myself versus thinking negative, garbage things about myself. And it's not gonna be an overnight thing. Like for me, for example, it still happens, you know, if I have a little slip up and I have, you know, that extra piece of chocolate that I didn't really need but I wanted, I can still hear myself giving myself a hard time. But the thing that a lot of people need to come to terms with is it's not necessarily about the fad diets and the getting skinny or to doing, you know what, like if you can love yourself inward, that's going to show some way on the outside. And if it means that you want to change how you look or you want to do something different, but it has to, for it to be positive and long lasting, it has to come from a place of kindness towards yourself. I know I sound so like psycho, like babbly kind of crazy, but these are things that I've had to come to terms with because I'm never gonna be that, like when I was in high school, I'll give you an example. I was about 5'11", just under 5'11", and I was between 135 and 140 pounds. So I was skinny and I was toned, like I had abs, and I, you know, at the time I thought I was fat and I thought that no, I can't be seen like this. You know, very seldom did I wear anything snug. I mean, I saw a picture of myself in my grad dress the other day, and I mean, you can see collarbones and my hips sticking out from under my dress. Now it is a slinky dress, so everything shows, but the thing is at the time my perspective was totally warped. I didn't have any kind of a positive, you know, idea of who I was or any of that kind of stuff. And now I've shrunk because of injuries, and so I'm a little bit shorter now. I'm just over 5'8", and I'm about 165 to 168 pounds, but I'm more aware of what I need versus what I just eat for fun or for boredom or for whatever. And that was something I had to do for me, not because I wanted to lose weight, because that wasn't the goal, not because I wanted to look differently for anybody else, but because I felt that, okay, that's what's right for me to take a little bit care of myself, how I want to do it. And it might not be for you, and that's totally acceptable. This is not like a, okay, we all have to get super fit and we all have to do these things. And no, this isn't about what's, you know, what I think is right for you or anything. It's about what you think is right for you. I say that in so many of my videos because that's only just come to me over the last couple of months where I've actually realized, hey, you know, there's actually something to be said for my experience in this world and your experience in this world, and that's really where it's at. Now, it's not to say that as you go about your business and people make these comments that it's going to be easy not to feel hurt, because that's not the case. When somebody makes a comment or says something, it's still going to be hurtful. It's still, you're only human, right? You know what I mean? You're still going to feel it, and it's still going to feel lousy. But hopefully, if you've changed that conversation with yourself, you're going to be able to look at that and say, okay, person over here just said something not nice about me, but my opinion is higher than what I think of their opinion, okay? So, like, as long as my opinion of myself and how I feel about myself is strong, what they say just can't get through the force field. You know what I mean? And it does take some practice, and it does take finding a community of people who can help build you up as well. You know, seeing who those people are in your world who bring that negativity and just letting that go. Do you know what I'm saying? It is hard. You know, we all want in life what, you know, that saying, we all want what we can't have, and I don't think that's necessarily true, because I feel like if you put your mind to it, then anything really is possible. But there are some things that, you know, can't be controlled. And what breaks my heart is, like, I'm not going in for nose, you know, surgery, okay? Like, this is my nose. These dark circles under my eyes, that's life. Do you know what I'm saying? I can't change that. I drink a lot of water. I have a chronic magnesium deficiency. I have, you know, iron fluctuations, and I have other health issues that contribute to the bags under my eyes and stress and things like that. And so when somebody says to you, like, oh, that about you, and you're like, that's something you can't fundamentally change. Wow, who just saw Rage Courtney come out there for a second? Was that scary? It was a little scary. I got a little scared there. But seriously, you can't listen to it. I know it's hard, but please, just let Little Mermaid Courtney sit on your shoulder there for a second and remind you that only how you feel about yourself matters. And I know that sounds crazy, but look at this, okay? Just check this out now. At the end of the day, we don't take any of this with us. Okay, at the end of the day, it is just you. And maybe that's a little scary, maybe that's a little bit too deep for this video, but you need to be okay with you. That's the relationship you have to work on, okay? And I'm not saying be, you know, a jerk to everybody else around you and all these things and be selfish and unkind and whatever, because that's a whole other video. But you really have to focus inward, and you really have to be okay with yourself first, okay? Because no amount of compliments and no amount of likes on your video or likes on your picture on Instagram, no amount of the superficial stuff, I'm not saying it's superficial when you guys contribute, but I mean when you're looking at it, those things can make you happy for a moment, but then at the end of the day you're going to bed and you're still feeling maybe a little bit empty, and that's the time to kind of think, okay, what could I be doing differently here? What with my conversation isn't quite hitting home, you know what I'm saying? Try your hardest not to seek the approval of others, okay? And I know it's hard because I do it too. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get lots of likes on this. I'm gonna get lots of, but at the end of the day, like I don't want to post my content for that purpose. I want to post my content because I want to help you guys, or I want to share some kind of knowledge, or I want to share some kind of art, or I want to share something like that. Like that's not where I should be seeking, because it's not really a healthy way to do it. So I hope that didn't just totally tick all you guys off, because it wasn't intended to. You know how much I value you guys and how much you mean to me, all of you watching my videos and on my Instagram and on my Twitter and on my Facebook and on my Patreon. I wouldn't be able to do what I do without you guys, and I wouldn't be able to hopefully share this message to other people to hopefully turn somebody around a little bit who maybe just needed a nudge in a different direction. I'm not claiming to be an expert. I just know what I've learned over 31 years on this planet that I wish I could go back and tell my younger self. But I'm not gonna talk about that because that's in a later video that I'm gonna film today. Oh yeah. But I know I said in a previous video, and hopefully I don't start crying because I still have 3 more videos to film after this. But the thing is, it really breaks my heart to think that there are people out there not living their lives to the fullest, or doing things that they wanna do because somebody told them they were too fat, or they were too ugly, or they were too something. And I just, I should say that I wanted to be really uplifting in this video, but I also feel like I want to have a little rant sesh and just say to the people who've made comments, you have to think about it first. Before you open your yap, sit there and have a moment and ask yourself, really ask yourself what it would feel like to have somebody say that to you. Okay, this is something for me that's very personal, okay? I was part of a lot of like anti-bullying groups when I was in high school, and I was bullied a lot, and I want to encourage you guys, of course, never put yourself in harm's way of something like that, but stick up for people, you know what I mean? If you see something, or, you know, encourage people if you can, and remind people that we are all worthwhile, you know what I mean? And don't be that person. Please don't be that person. Please don't be that person who leaves a hateful, hurtful, mean, lousy comment on somebody. Like, if you don't have something nice to say, just, okay? I know, I sound like such a mom. Somebody called me the best mermaid mom or something like that in one of my videos. Do you guys think I'm your mermaid mom? Seriously? Oh my god. Well, I don't have kids. You can be my kids. my little mermaid family. But really, I'm gonna leave this here. I want to get a positive conversation going in the comments section. Let's talk about things that we can do to build people up instead of tearing people down. Let's talk about some of the ways that you found helpful to change that mental conversation that you have with yourself. Things that you do that make yourself feel good or make yourself feel happy. So on that note, if you like this video, please feel free to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to join the pod and hit that bell notification as well so you don't miss any of my mermaid adventures. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I know that I got your back and that I think about you guys and that I send you the good vibes. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Happy swimming! Bye!